First, astonishing new polling has exposed just how badly the Tories could fare at the next election. The party's vote share is falling to the same level as the lowest point under Liz Truss. Meanwhile, Reform have surged to a whopping 15% in the polls. Their highest score today, just 4 points now behind the Conservatives. No wonder Keir Starmer then is demanding Sunak goes to the polls.
Violent prisoners released early because the Tories wrecked the criminal justice system. 3,500 small boat arrivals already this year because the Tories lost control of the borders. The NHS struggling to see people because the Tories broke it. Why is the Prime Minister so scared to call an election?
All right, I'm joined now by Ann Widdecombe. Ann, thank you very much. Look, first things first, Ann, what do you make of this Reform on 15%, 4 points behind the Tories?
Yes, and as also as a matter of detail, in areas of the north, they've actually gone ahead of the Tories already. Now, that doesn't apply to the whole country. But I think that what that does show is that they're essentially, as they become better known, and as people learn about who they are and what they stand for, Reform is appealing to basic common sense, whether that is in the working men's clubs of the north, or whether it is in, even these days in London, where, you used to think, well, it was all Labour. We're coming on. We're doing well. And all we've got to do is sustain it. That's all we've got to do is sustain this. At this time last year, we were just a few percent. Now we're 15% in this poll. We've been 14%, 13% in other polls. It is a genuine trend.
And that is without Nigel officially coming back, leading the party in as well. I do wonder what kind of impact that might have if he does it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if Nigel comes back and leaves Reform, or if he comes back and takes a major part in campaigning for Reform, if he does that in a couple of months before the next general election, I mean, I think at that point we just storm ahead because he is much loved in the Red Wall. And people trust him simply because he always says it as it is. He doesn't sort of hedge about and, try and be all things to all men. That's the last thing he is.
Look, obviously, the great unknown of all of this is if this translates into actual votes. Time will tell, but there we go. Look, and now, very keen to get your views on this. A shocking new study has found that Britain's plummeting birth rate will leave us heavily relying on immigration to maintain public services until 2100. Senior Tory Miriam Kate says it's one of the great threats to Western nations. What do you think of it?
Well, for a start, we've been told for a very long time now that there are too many people on Earth. And we were told also, particularly in the 1970s, that we were going to enter this period where there wouldn't be enough employment because people would have much more leisure time. All these predictions are made. So I would take with a pinch of salt 2100 because we don't know what's going to have happened by then. You think how fast the world has moved. That's that side of it. But if you actually look at what's been going on, I mean, since over the last 50 years, over the last 50 years, we've lost 11 million out of the workforce to abortion, people who would now be living and be in the workforce. People are choosing to have smaller families. That's undeniably having an impact. And women are having children much later, which means that the old pattern of having a couple and then maybe a gap and another couple simply doesn't happen anymore.
It just seems to me like we're only reliant on immigration if we choose to be. If we choose to look at the world that way and we choose to look at our GDP that way. If we prioritised other things, then we wouldn't be so reliant on immigration. And I wonder at what cost to the desecration of our actual culture and our way of life. We're going to have to be quick, Anne.
Yes, I'll be very quick on this one. If you just look at our education policy, we're trying to make everybody a graduate, who will then look for graduate-style jobs. We've vastly expanded higher education beyond all practical application. And we just need to take another long look at our policy of skills and higher education.
Yeah, and look, you are magnificent as ever. Thank you very, very much, former Conservative Minister Ann Widdecombe.